Islamophobia. So the UK,
They're adopting an official term called Islamophobia, giving it a meaning. They're giving it power as well, I believe, inside the courts.
official definition, Free Speech Union mounting a challenge against it.
Islamophobia is anti-Muslim hostility. A fairly logical definition, but a completely created term. And why do they have this special term created for them? You don't think that they've created any, reasons for hostility against? They have never prosecuted, perpetrated against, or been hostile against any other people in the world. Maybe perhaps the Christians or other religions that were in those countries. Just a question.
Joining us now from London is Lord Toby Young.
It was just designed to tackle anti-Muslim hatred, which, according to the government, is a big problem in the UK.
You know, I cannot understand why there's all this protection when the whole of Western societies and other societies around the world are able to be openly mocking of Christianity, openly mocking of the West's religion. Essentially, there is all this open hate towards it, criticism of the past, criticism of the future, criticism of the now, and everything in between. But as soon as you start criticizing, pushing against, and being somewhat opposed to Islam, now that's violence. I cannot understand how we are protecting these people when, if you follow that religion to the extent that it wishes you follow it, it will actually be violent. Like it does at the nth degree promote violence against other religions, people who do not adopt Islam. And so it's kind of a logical thing, if you're not Islamic, if you're not a Muslim, to be against Muslims in your country who do not wish you the best. They do not wish you well. They don't respect you, your daughters, and your ways of being. They seek to replace that with their own laws, their own ways. And in their religion, that's perfectly reasonable because they seek to unite the world under the banner of Islam. So, in my opinion, some anti Muslim behavior or some sentiments against it is kind of logical.
And Nick Timothy MP, the Shadow Attorney General, a Conservative Member of Parliament, he had the temerity to criticise mass ritual public prayer. And about 15 Labour MPs reported him to the Commissioner for Parliamentary Standards. Wow. And Keir Starmer, at Prime Minister's questions, demanded that Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the opposition, fire him for this outrageous display of...
The people in charge of these policies, people like Keir Starmer, they like to impose these kind of laws for a variety of different reasons. I think there is a conglomerate of people. There are some cronies and people in power, and there is a narrative that they want to project. They're creating chaos in the meantime, creating diversions and separatism, and they want there to be separatism within their societies. When people are separated and when people are against one another and there is no cohesion, you can kind of control them. You separate them, you create chaos, and then you ensue control over it. It sounds counterintuitive, because how can you control chaos? Well, the thing is, chaos cannot control itself, so perhaps there are some shots fired in multiple directions. But in this case, it's also not able to stand up in a conforming way and direct itself at the government, which seeks its own interest. I guess there are a lot of powerful individuals in the pockets of others, and they have their own agendas. And I think in some kind of way, very difficult to explain within one sentence, they are manipulating. They are driving the general mainstream media's opinions and also the laws and policies. These laws and policies are created by those people who seek to benefit themselves and keep the people kind of, let's say, um, distracted, disorganized, bewildered. They pull out the rug from underneath them and let's start the next chapter.
In the High Court, we've issued a threat, an ultimatum to the cabinet minister, Steve Reed, who unveiled the definition and officially took it up and said he would be appointing an anti-Muslim hostility czar to hear complaints and record them and make sure they were taken into account by the police and the courts when prosecuting people, even though it's supposed to be a non-statutory definition.
I do think it's illogical, unconstitutional as well. This needs to be cut out for sure. It's not a good thing for these laws to be implemented on speech and the control and also the unfair protection of one group over other groups. I think is especially sinister. Very strange as well, having that group being protected in a country that is overwhelmingly Christian, has a Christian background as well. So it's so strange.
Aren't you just simply almost banning political criticism here? And when you look at the various terror attacks, the Rotherham rape gangs, which were all targeting white girls, where is the subsequent or concomitant movement against Anglophobia if Islamophobia is such a problem?
You know, I talked about Anglophobia a little earlier. I didn't create a term for it. I don't think we should, because I think we can stand up for ourselves in that case. But for sure, there is a prosecution. There has been a prosecution from Islam, from Muslims in various countries of Christians. The persecution, the death, the suppression of Christianity and Christians in a bunch of countries that are Muslim should give us a clear point of view of who is the actual oppressive regime, who is the actual oppressive religion here. As I said before, I don't think this is simply to say that we're going to be nice to the Muslims, so we want inclusivity, we want to make sure that we're fair. I think there are deep-seated agendas behind the scenes, and they're creating this kind of separatism within societies. They're creating these ideas. They're creating so much information and propaganda for this that we cannot collectively stand up, organize ourselves, and say enough with this. There is so much noise going on, and we need to be able to see right through it, kind of understand what's being done to us all, stand together, and press against. Now, in the case about Muslims, in Western society, we want to be caring, we want to be inclusive and non-discriminatory to people. But how can you extend that kind of that goodness, that virtue, let's say, to a religion? It's completely exclusive and discriminatory against people who do not share the same religion. How can you extend such a virtue to a religion that opposes you directly, that wants you to fly its banner? And if you don't, at the end of the day, you will be persecuted, you will be judged, you will be killed. All these policies about Muslims and Islamophobia is absolutely ridiculous. People who aren't able to see right through it and right through the phase that they're producing here are clearly under some kind of mental spell where the information that you've received is all one-way traffic and you haven't even considered anything else outside the sphere of information that you're receiving, and you're regurgitating these ideas which you think are caring for the world and being inclusive only because that is a popular thing within the circle of people that you flow. And the opposite idea that you get about the people that don't think like you is that all those people are bigots, all those people want the world to end. But it cannot be like that. It's just a completely illogical thought. The fact that people can think that actually just says that people don't really think. People aren't thinking. Things are thinking for us. Things are making our decisions for us. A person needs to develop their own genuine, self reflecting thoughts and ideas and opinions about these topics. And that is quite difficult to do. There is a lot of noise. The algorithm also tends to feed us that which we already know. When the algorithm gives you what you want and what you're comfortable with, your ideas are not really praised, and you're not able to rebut your own thoughts on the world. But to have genuine thoughts, to have a good idea of what's happening in the world, you really need to understand as many of the perspectives as you can, because that knowledge and those perspectives, why different ideas exist, and what is the logic behind those ideas, gives you the mental ground, the knowledge, and the perspective to develop an argument, a position that is well thought after, and to be reasonable in this world.